Hi, my name is Kim, and I'm going to take a few minutes to talk to you about how to create a Google form. From your Google Drive, go ahead and choose the folder in which you want your Google form to be housed. I want mine to be housed in the 21st century because that is where I'm going to talk to you about it. Once you're there, click on New and go down to Google Form. Now, the first thing you're going to want to do is give your Google form a title. For this one, I'm going to call it How To. Because that is what I'm going to show you, is how to create a Google form. Now, whenever I create a Google form, the first thing I like to do is ask for their first and last name. Doing this, you want to make sure you put a text because the kids are going to be typing their name. Then add an item and put their last name. Same thing, text so that they can type in their name. I like to separate first and last name because you have some kids who won't put both, and I like to make sure I know exactly which kid is doing it. Another thing I like to ask the kids for is their hour. I do this with a checkbox, and I'll just type in whatever hours that I have. And the kids can go through and tell me what hour they're in. I do this for grading purposes more so than to know what hour the kids are actually in. The last thing that I ask for as far as basic information is their school email address. And I do this because when I do grade these, I have a program that will email their answers back to them so they know which questions they missed and which questions they got right. Alright, so once I have that basic information done, now I can start the actual little assessment or formative assessment or quiz, whichever way you want to use this. So my first question I'm going to ask them is, what is the capital of Puerto Rico? Now I'm going to make this a multiple choice question, so of course I'm going to give them a few options to choose one. Now, there's my multiple choice question. Next, I'm going to ask them a fill in the blank question where they're going to come up with the actual answer. So I want them to conjugate the verb hablar in the yo form. So since I want them to fill it in, again, I'm going to put text and they will put their answer into the blank when it's provided. Now, another thing you could do with this is kind of a true and false. I'm going to do a true and false, but it's not going to actually be true and false. It's simply going to be two options to choose between. So again, I'm going to use the multiple choice, but I'm going to ask them, me blank los huevos. And I'm asking them to choose whether they would use gusta or gustan for the answer. Now, obviously, if you just wanted true and false, you would put true and false. So those are some basic ones. If I want to get a little bit more advanced, what I can do is insert a page break, and I can have them read and then answer some questions. So in this little title is what I write the directions for, and in the description, I'm going to insert my little blurb that I want them to read and use to answer their questions. So I'm just giving them a little blurb to test their reading. And you could do this with any subject that you wanted. So there's my little blurb that I'm going to have them read about Maria, just to test their language skills, their reading skills, see what they can do. Now I'm going to add an item. I'm going to add a multiple choice item. I'm going to ask them a few questions based on what they read. So the first question is going to be, ¿De dónde es María? Now, this is something that they can find in their reading. I'm going to give them multiple choice answers. Now, so those are my 4 answers. Now I want to ask my students a few more questions, but use those same answers. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to duplicate this. What that gives me is the exact same question and answers. And since I want the answers to stay the same, all I'm going to do is change my question. This saves me a little bit of time. Again, I have more questions. I'm going to duplicate that again and ask another question. And I have one more question, and then I will be done. So there's my 4 questions about that little blurb. Now you can go ahead and you can add other things too if you wanted to. You could add a video, you could add a picture. So let's go ahead and add an image just to show it. So you could upload one from your computer, or you can search for one on Google. So let's just look for a volleyball. We'll search that. We'll find this volleyball and we'll select it. And that will add a volleyball to my form. Now, if I want to, I can add a question. So let's add the question KS. And this will simply ask the students to identify what that vocabulary word is. I think for now, that's probably a good form, so I'm going to click Done. And if I scroll up, it shows me everything that I have on my form. Now, if you want to, you can view it live. And this is exactly what the kids see when they log in to your form and get ready to take it. This is what I like to copy and paste into whatever activity or website or Google Classroom that you have, so that the kids can easily find this activity. I hope this has helped you learn how to create a Google form and how to easily use it for assessment, formative assessment, summative assessment, or just a quick review of what the kids know and don't know. Thank you.